particularly Mohammed's presentation was, I think, fantastic. Very good model. I think that you guys are doing everything right, and congratulations. I really enjoyed it. My presentation, as I'm supposed to keep it as short as possible, doesn't really focus specifically on success stories in Turkey, but rather my observations in the past 6 years I've been doing this in Turkey. And some of the stuff that I want to say has been already mentioned, so I'll be able to pass through those slides faster. So that I don't forget, the theme I think that we need to keep in mind for my presentation is when we're trying to commercialize technology in an emerging ecosystem, such as Saudi Arabia, such is still Turkey, and probably Malaysia, I think the key is to collaborate. So this is the theme, underlying theme of my presentation. This doesn't work. Now, I want to start with also a very quick story, and like Mohammed, I want to go on a plane, but I will take you on a much older plane. This is a B-17 from the Second World War, the most successful bomber ever built. I am a big fan of airplanes, and the very first time I went on this plane, I was surprised to see the bomb bay where they carried the payload was extremely small. It could only carry 2,000 kilograms of bombs as opposed to a B-1 that could carry 35 tons. And I asked about this. And I was told that in the time, during the Second World War, or just preceding it when this plane was being developed, they had technology to build better airplanes, bigger airplanes, faster airplanes. The engine technology was there, fuselage technology was there, but apparently one thing that they didn't have technology to have landing gears that could carry the load of the airplane. So that was a big epiphany for me. I realized that sometimes the problem is not where you think. When you look at it from an outside point of view, you say, oh, why don't you have bigger engines? Well, you could, but if you don't have the landing gear to carry it, you cannot fly anywhere. So I think this general idea we have to keep in mind was we were trying to build an ecosystem is that we need to identify the single underlying problem for a potentially single silver bullet. What is it that we need to address first? And I think it works also for the most applications. I'll skip this process because we've seen this. I will go through this very quickly. It was mentioned earlier on. When we're trying to identify the problem, and this is what we try to do in Turkey, is that we have to look, is there a market? Is there a buyer? And I will agree with Mohammed, sometimes a buyer in a specific local industrial partner is very difficult. There's this skepticism with regards to local innovations. I'd much rather buy it from Europe, from US, than from Turkey, I expect from Malaysia. That is, you have to build the trust to go over that problem. Do you have a commercialization system and model either within your institution or as a country? One critical element is that you have to manage expectations. Especially when universities build tech transfer offices, they benchmark their experiences from the US numbers. They read numbers like $3.6 billion of licensing income from autumn in 2008 only, and then we start seeing millions everywhere. Well, it takes time. You need to make a commitment to tech transfer. It doesn't happen over time, it doesn't happen over years, it happens over decades. So you have to be able to communicate to your stakeholders that, well, you're making this commitment, you have to give me time. If you pressure me to show profit every year, well, it's not going to work. And you need to enable your tech transfer office the same way Mohammed's office was enabled, 26 staff members. I agree with you, with 1 or 2 people, it's just not doable. Do you have enough access to knowledge? You have to be able to transform information. We have all access to information thanks to internet, but transform that information into knowledge. That is the basis of your innovative process. Also, it was said on many occasions, I have to reiterate that once again, this is a global economy. The collaboration needs to be global. Yes, certainly collaborate locally, but collaborate globally. There's lots of opportunities. Universities from all over the place are looking for collaborative partners. Industries are looking for collaborative partners. Go out there, engage them, build that trust. Do you have a valuable licensing ecosystem? That is where your legal infrastructure will come into play. Are you able to compete globally? Do you have a nationalist paradigm in the sense that, well, okay, fine, you can license your technology, but you have to license locally first. That could be a good thing. It goes both ways. I happen to oppose it. It's a global market. If I can license to a Malaysian company, well, I should. I should not have to license to Turkey. And in Turkey, we don't have this obligation. One of the things as well that you need to focus, well, what is your pipeline? You're in the marketing business. You're marketing technology. So what is your product? Do you have enough? Is it sustainable? Do you have critical mass? Emerging economies typically, and that was the case in Turkey and it still is to a certain extent, doesn't have a sustainable pipeline, especially universities don't. Most technologies are quite early stage and removed from actual application, which makes it very difficult to license or engage venture capital funds for further development. No local market, no international network. Most industrial partners from the US might be reluctant to work with a Malaysian, Saudi, or Turkish university. Legal infrastructure might not be in place. You need to protect your IP, and for that you need sustainable, foreseeable IP laws. And very often you don't have sophisticated licensing professionals. It's a specific profession, it requires specific experience, and you need to build that experience in-house. Another very important thought, most countries when they emerge into the technology commercialization, they figure, okay, we need to have a pipeline of patents. Quantity does not have a quality of its own. You might have 200 patents that are worthless. It was mentioned on several occasions throughout this conference. I might rather have one patent with a great quality than 100 patents that I cannot really sell. But as an educational experience, I've been through that as well. You file for patents, you don't know what they are, and then you realize that, well, you wasted money, but that's how you build education. And look at your small and medium-sized enterprises, key component for commercialization. And you have to educate them as well. Most SMEs and emerging economies don't have that sophistication, so you need to engage them early on and build this relationship with them. Have my technology and you will win. Well, you need to evaluate your ecosystem. Of course, who are your local actors? Are you managing your pipeline effectively? What can you do? Where do you stand in the global ecosystem? What is your niche? You have to go blue ocean on this one. And I think, again, Malaysian experience was very great. Agricultural, veterinary. Don't always try to compete, for instance, in nanosciences if the place is full. We all have specialized knowledge, and that's where we need to focus on these experiences before we can challenge the Americans and the Europeans. How involved are your inventors? Is university behind your efforts? Again, echoing what Mohammed said. What is your value proposal at Tech Transfer Office? What is the value proposal of your patent? Is it really solving a problem? Is that incremental advantage, or is it a game changer? Know your customer, it was said. Engage your startup ecosystem. I will just pass this one. So going to my main team, collaborations. You need to build a critical mass. One university might not have enough of a pipeline. So engage other universities, and I will finish my presentations with an example of Turkey. Build clusters, it helps. Reach out to the industry. It's a tough job. It's difficult to talk with industry when you're wearing a university hat, but that's how you can build a strong portfolio and strong relationships. Build your centers of excellence, publish them, and have a long-term vision to build a trust with industry. Industry doesn't just come to you, they have to trust you. And university-university collaborations. Pool your resources, pool in your pipeline. Engage other universities' tech transfer office. Engage other universities' ability if you don't have it in-house. Go to bio, for instance. As a community, if you have two patents, going to bio might be expensive. But if you have 10 universities pooling your technologies and go to bio as a platform, then that might be valuable. Look at if you have joint patents. Joint patents are a great way to learn and leverage someone else's experience. Stick with them and see what they're doing, and what they're doing they're not doing it right. Look at your angel networks or your VCs. Are they active? Engage them, especially angel networks, I think are critical. They're much less formal than VCs, and they will be able to assist and provide smart money when it's needed. And of course, entrepreneurship centers, education at university, educate your students to be entrepreneurs, to engage university resources, build something, fund them, and stand by them, but also be a strict parent. Don't tolerate laziness. If they're not doing their job, well, it's too bad. Get someone else to do it. TTOs were widely mentioned. I think you do have an effective TTO system. One thing I want to say is that test your patents. I think from filing to commercialization, it's a long process, and Heinz Godard yesterday mentioned that, well, When you file, you still have a long time before you really decide if you really want to make a substantial investment on your patent. So use that time well. So you don't have to spend too much time deciding whether or not to patent it. Just file, then work hard on whether or not you want to continue, and drop the patents that you realize that don't have any potential. One of the first things I did at my office was drop 6 patents immediately. We were at the second maintenance fee, and I simply couldn't see any commercial effort. I had to engage my academicians and say, well, sorry, we are going to drop your patents. It's a tough job, but needs to be done. Startups licensing, I think also it was mentioned, so I'm going to pass that. Encourage innovators, it was mentioned. Build your network, not only to commercialize, but to educate. These conferences are a great way to learn new stuff. Engage international associations such as Autumn, LES, ASTP. This is Autumn and ASTP a little bit more for the university, LES a little bit more for the industry. And also look what you have. You might have a Rembrandt in the attic, and I will just tell a quick story from Berlin University. The director of Berlin University Tech Transfer Office was a friend of mine, and within 1 year he was showing profit. Not because of his patents, but he realized that Berlin University had a big portfolio of World War I pictures. So he commercialized those copyrights, and he made money within the first year. It was not patents. These are pictures sitting in the library, and he was able to leverage that. So look what you have, and engage your faculty. Codify your know-how. Know-how is something that you will have, you already have. You might not have patents, but your know-how is already valuable. And Mohamed Al-Ansari also mentioned that you need to codify this intellectual assets that you have in your institution. I passed that. This is, I believe, my last slide so that I can stay within the time. This is the only example I want to give about Turkey. If you want to share success stories, I'll be available offline throughout the day, and we can chat later on during coffee. But one thing we did that we built with LES Turkey, RTEV Consortium. There's a consortium of 5 universities and LES Turkey. We came together, we built this platform, we got government funding, with the mission of building awareness. Awareness is critical, not only in-house in your institutions, but also locally, and also globally, because you have to engage global actors, say, well, we are doing something that you might want to know about. So we organized several seminars, and we're still doing it. 5 workshops are in the way for the month of May. We engage all the local actors, especially the industrial associations, technology funds, so that they know what's happening at universities. We pooled our pipeline, we pooled our resources, we're educating our tech transfer staff, we're building a curriculum of how to be a licensed professional, and we're doing it twofold. We're building a curriculum for universities to teach technology transfer and technology management as a program, and we're building a continuing education curriculum for the professionals who want to enter into this field, because it's a specific field, as I mentioned. And this curriculum will have a long-term impact on Turkish ecosystem, and that's how also you contribute to your country. So we're trying to build an effective TTO network, and that is staffed by sophisticated licensing professionals. Final thoughts, I'll repeat what I said, it's a long-term effort, but you have to do it. You have to monitor and publish non-monetary returns. This is not just for the money. This is for the good of your society, good for of the planet. Collaborations will help us all also throughout the planet to live in a more peaceful way. I do believe that universities are the driving factor for commercialization in emerging economies, so universities are key actors, therefore the TTOs are very important. And a final thought, it was also mentioned, just don't copy the American system. They have a whole different set of experiences that doesn't apply to Turkey, probably doesn't apply to Saudi Arabia, and probably doesn't apply to Malaysia. Study them, but build your own local model. That's how you will succeed, not by copying it. It was very fast. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, I will be available throughout the panel or afterwards. Thank you.